Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jade, and thank you for coming back, or if it's your first time, thank you for visiting my channel. First things first, today's topic may be sensitive for some people, but hopefully you're open for the conversation and just to hear my story. Rather, I'm not here to persuade you to leave a certain religion or to join something that you don't want to join. At the end of the day, we are all humans on our own journey and trying to find what works for us and what doesn't. With that being said, a disclaimer, or an intention rather, I want to set for this video. My intention is just to share my story and to share how religion has not even pushed, swayed, how I'm no longer in religion and how I feel like it's affecting me today, because religious trauma is a thing apparently, adding on to all of the other traumas and stuff I'm trying to heal through. It's kind of a lot. So that's my main intention for the video. I have some notes written down on my phone. And if you see me itching my nose, it's because my allergies are so bad right now. Like, it's real bad. So I'm going to get into it. Okay, I'm gonna try to get through this video and act. Y'all, I really thought that this couple that's leaving right now was about to start like doing it in their car, because I saw them being all lovey-dovey walking to the car. I'm at the park, by the way, because I've tried to do this video like 5 times now, and let me try to do it outside of my house. So a little disclaimer for my family, friends who have always known me to be religious or a certain type of way. I've spoken to the people who I deem most important, like in my day-to-day life, that I knew that this information would affect them. I've spoken to them about this. I've even told my grandmother, kind of like, I'm good, anybody else can go like it rocks. What they say matters to me, and it's important that they can at least understand and or like support me still, which they do. Sorry. So I did write some notes. I'm hoping that like all the stuff that I think about comes out, because sometimes when I sit down to film these kind of videos, like I sit down with the intention of like wanting to relay a message, and then my mind goes blank. So let's just start with some background in like my childhood. So I grew up in a Christian household. I want to say non-denomination type, or Baptist. I don't think it was Baptist. I don't really know, to be honest. But I did grow up in church from when I was little to by the time I left high school. So I'm very well acquainted with the Christian church, the Black Christian church rather. I grew up believing or being told that a lot of things were evil, like so many things, mostly by my mother. Bless her heart, because still today she thinks a lot of things are evil. And it's like even just the basic skull head, like off of the Goonies, or I don't know, certain name brands have a skull head. She doesn't like that type of stuff. She thinks it's evil or it's demon, I don't even know, witchcraft. Even Buddhism, growing up, she always deemed things like that evil. So I was always thought to like, or taught that there's so much evil in this world, you know? But there's also like a lot of good in the world. But all the things that seemed evil, like, I feel like I was so curious about because they never told me why. They just was like, it's bad, it's bad. Anything like skulls, witches, anything darker. Can't be too dark. Even like what we watched. In my childhood, I was never taught about sex. I was taught the basics, like, you know, make sure, like, no one's, like, touching you. But even that, like, it wasn't taught how, in my opinion, should have been taught, because it wasn't taught at all, basically. And which I am currently a 28-year-old virgin, I guess you could say. I say, when I think of virgin, I think about someone who's very closed off, who doesn't want to have sex until they're married, who doesn't, you know, who's like, wears like a fucking chastity belt. That's not my case. It used to be my case. I used to want to wait till marriage. I used to want to go to those purity balls that they used to have. My sister had one. I wanted to go to one so bad, but you had to be 15, and she did hers, but they decided to cancel it before I got the chance to do it. Which now, thinking about those types of charity balls or purity balls is actually like kind of sickening, because, you know, why are we doing those? So I just want to clarify a little bit more on this, because purity balls and cotillions, where the young girls and usually their fathers are the star of the show. And it's supposed to be like a symbolism of your girlhood, your womanhood, saving yourself till marriage. And it's kind of strange, because when you even look at pictures, you're supposed to wear a white dress, and you know, you're with your father. It's supposed to be wholesome, and oh my god, you know, your father's your first love, and I get that. But at the same time, it's like we're putting so much emphasis on young girls saving themselves, when young boys have nothing like this, to my knowledge. In the Christian community, there's nothing for men like with their moms, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's very one way street when it comes to purity balls or cotillions or anything of that nature. That kind of stuff definitely, in my opinion, it breeds culty. And I say that now, but back in the day, I definitely did want to go to one so bad, because it was just the dressing up and feeling pretty, and you know, something you do with your dad. It's cutesy, but behind, like, the deeper laying message of it is, it's not so cutesy to me anymore. Some other things that were told to not just me, but my sister and I, when I was younger, was if we cuss, God's gonna cut our tongue out. Yeah, it was little stuff like that, that like if we did something a certain type of way, we were gonna get punished by God. So there's always that fear and shame, and you know, God's watching you type of mentality instilled within me, that I still struggle with today, surprisingly. I thought once I decided to leave the church, and you know, okay, I'm atheist, I'm a witch, I don't even know what to call myself. I am just Jade at this point. I am free of any label, and I feel like that can go more into like my current state, but going back in my childhood, just so much was deemed to be shameful. Like, my parents, they loved me, my sister and I so much. They still do. And as like we've gotten older, I feel like they've gotten less, well, definitely have gotten less strict, but also I feel like they have become a little bit more open-minded, especially because my sister and I are more open-minded people. So in that regards, yeah. So going back to not being taught about sex, I also started watching porn at a very young age, and there was a moment in time where it was like pretty bad. I feel like I was watching porn way too much, but it's always interesting how as much porn as I watched, like, I never acted on it, and it always shocks me how, like, what kind of porn I watched or what I would watch in general. Like, I switched over to MTV and VH1 in my middle school years. Like, I was off that cartoon shit. I'm ready for Room Raiders and Next and all this other trashy TV. Like, I'm watching Tila Tequila, realizing that, maybe I don't know what I want, men or women. Why am I watching Tila Tequila? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was told no so much that it's bad, 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 that I went to go seek it in secret. I do a lot of things like that, I feel like, nowadays, is I'd rather tell you after the fact I've done something than to tell you, oh, I'm going to go do this thing, because I don't want to hear what you have to say. You know, I just made that connection just right now. Also, when I was younger, I started watching Charmed. And if you know me today, you know I love that show so much. The way the set design, the fashion design, the characters. R.I.P. Shannon. R.I.P. to a real one. I love that show. I started watching that show when I was in, like, I want to say like 3rd or 4th grade. And I remember having to like sneak watch it. And it's the fact that both my parents still work. They worked so I could watch like an episode or two before school, and I would walk. Because like in the morning, most mornings, it was like my sister and I getting ourselves ready. Like, I've been an independent person for so long. That's why, I don't know, it's very normal for me to be alone and like independent. It's not very hard for me. And now it's hard for me to be around other people. Could be the spectrum, the little tizzy part of it all, or everything else that's going on mentally with me. But that's for another video. Okay, also for the also in my childhood, something that I've recently noticed is, I think because growing up and being raised in religion, it pushed me to become, like, to take on the good girl, nice girl, friendly girl narrative. And I feel like I've just come to this awareness recently, and that I feel like has led to be a people pleaser. And I just saw a post about this the other day. It was so spot on, because a lot of times now when I'm going through my healing or trying to like break through some traumas, I feel like I second guess myself a lot, and I'm like, no, it wasn't meant like that. No, that person wouldn't have meant it like that. But no, like, yes, everything that happened that way, it happened because, you know what I'm saying? It was like, a girl had mentioned, like, you know how I knew I was a people pleaser? Because I was voted most friendliest in high school. And I was like, you know what? I was voted most friendliest in middle school. And I was like, wow, that's so fucking true. Like, I feel like, thinking back, like, I don't even know, would I have been friends with most of the people who I went to school with? And I'm like, probably not, if I hadn't been a people pleaser. And I think because I was taller than most of the girls, I was a black girl, I was one of the only black girls, me and my best friend at the time, I feel like I didn't really get bullied in school. There was this one time, this boy, he tried it. He really tried it. But I feel like because I was so friendly that people were like, oh, Jade's too nice. Maybe, like, let's not. I feel like maybe it was, like, a safeguard. Because the way some of those other kids were getting bullied and stuff, I'm like, okay, let me just get to my... I'm to myself. I'm a good student. A's and B's. I'm cool with everybody. Nobody. I had no problems with everybody. Nobody. And I feel like it was just so much, like, of the fear mindset. Like, so much fear implemented. Like, it was like in school, too, if I were to get in trouble and... like, one little thing, like, I was talking too much, or I was just sick of playing by the rules, because, my friends would be like, oh my god, Jay, you Miss Goody Two Shoes or whatever, which I don't pay no mind to that. I like being one of the good ones, but to some extent, I'm like, okay, it was a bit too much. Like, I did stuff for people, like, I shouldn't have, like... yeah. Like, there was one time when, like, phones and texting was like becoming more popular, and I remember I found one of my dad's old flip phones, and somehow I got it to work, and I was able to, like, get on the texting bandwagon. And so I'm pretty sure it was 6th grade. There was this whole, like, it wasn't a group chat, but it was like multiple of us, like, in a texting ring of some sort, just like, bullshitting, whatever. I remember so many of us got caught with our phones because I think someone started talking about someone else they weren't supposed to be talking about. We were some bad kids. Not me. I was the good kid who did some bad things on the side but didn't get in trouble for it. Story of my life. But I got caught. And I remember I had, like, after school detention for 2 days. And I remember we had to write, like, I will not text in class over and over, like, 100 or so times. First of all, okay, that obviously didn't help the problem. All that to say, that whole thing just felt like, so I remember, like, I beat myself up, like, on the way home after getting in trouble. I took the longest way home, and it was, like, such a dread, like, going home. And, like, of course, like, my little phone got taken away, but at the time, it was, like, everyone was on MySpace or Facebook, and I wasn't really tripping like that. My punishments, they didn't last long because I feel like my parents knew I was a good kid, but they were still strict anyways. Okay. I want to say high school was when I really started to question my religion. Middle school, I was cool with it. I wasn't really, like, I wasn't ever connected to it really. Like, I want to say the moment where, like, I really started to question my faith was I had this friendship that I was pretty close with a girl, and I had rumors that she started dating this other girl, and I was like, why she never told me that? Like, I was just so thrown off because we were close, and I was like, why would she tell me that? And so there was one day, either the next day or like a couple days later, I was like, I wonder if she would tell me. And so I finally had, like, stalked her in the hallway or something, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, how come, like, you never told me that you and so-and-so started dating? And she was just like, well, I know because of your religion that you wouldn't be able to be my friend anymore, or because I was dating a girl, like something along those lines, like because of me being a Christian, she didn't think like I could be her friend anymore. And I was so heartbroken, and I remember like that made me like really rethink, like, have I said something like to offend her, or to make her think like, I wouldn't want to be her friend. I told her, I remember telling her like, that's not true, like that has nothing to do with, me wanting to be your friend. And like, y'all, like, the joke is now that I'm not even sure what I want in a partner. Like, I'm not sure if I want to be with a woman or a man, because I haven't been with either. After 28 years, I'm just not sure. And I don't know. I don't know. Is that asexual? Is some sexuality? I don't know. I don't know. I'm still figuring it out, guys. I'm still figuring it out. We'll see when we get there, right? That situation really had me pondering thoughts. So with that friendship where I didn't know that, they were dating another girl, that didn't stop us from being friends. I think maybe there was a period of like awkwardness, but we were still friends. We continue to be friends. We still keep in touch today, and I love that. I love that I was able to, reevaluate my religion and question even more, like, oh, is this how it comes off to others around me? Like, is this going to affect other friendships? Am I only going to have Christian friends? And then you start thinking about like all the other type of people in this world, and that's so much judgment to hold. And that's not for me to judge. I think that moment really led me to opening up to all people, and knowing that everyone is just who they are, like regardless if we're in changing times, going through a phase, whatever the case may be. If it's not hurting you, it's not affecting you, who someone else lays with is none of your business, basically. Pretty much. I remember I got baptized in high school, and I remember initially, like, I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm finally going to have this connection that everyone else is saying that they have. I'm finally going to hear God. He's going to speak to me, and we're going to, I've been doing all the things that the Christian girl is supposed to do. Like, I would literally write on my calendar, like, April 15th, I'm going to start to be perfect. Like, I'm going to do homework perfectly. I'm going to sit properly, because I'm going to dress properly. I'm going to do everything how a girl is supposed to do. Like, it's not healthy. It's not healthy for a young black girl. I feel like having that mindset has done a number on me. I'm not sure what that number is. I'm so grateful and proud of how I've turned out, because I could have been a lot worse. I feel like I could have turned out a lot worse. A lot worse. In high school, I made a friend. Now, I've never mentioned this to more than one or two people, but I made this friend in high school, trickled into college a little bit, and this particular friend, I didn't realize within the first 2 years of our friendship that they were an atheist. And when I tell you I found this information out, y'all, and I flipped the fuck out. I flipped out because I was like, I'm a Christian, right? Like, how can you be that? I was truly like flabbergasted, because it was the mental thing of like, how can we be such good friends, but you don't believe in God? Like, but you're a good person, but you don't do all these evil things that I've been told that people do. Like, but you're still chill. And I didn't talk to that person for like a week or two, and I was like, this is so stupid. This is literally so stupid and I feel like, so what I learned in that specific friendship, once like after the 2 weeks, like I came back, I was the one to apologize and been like, this was, actually stupid. Like, I blew up for no reason. And it kind of like, it kind of puts into perspective, like, I blew up so hard because I'm like, how dare you not be of the same faith as I am, and we're this close? Like, it just can't be. Like, what are the people gonna say? Like, we find this information out. Like, this is not good. It's very selfish. It's a selfish mentality, at least to me, a little bit, because it's like, you build this friendship up with someone because of their morals and values, and then you learn they're not of the same religion as you. Oh, now you can't be friends. Like, it doesn't make sense. That, along with me starting to skip church as soon as I learned to drive, y'all. Yeah, I'll meet you at church. Meanwhile, I'm going to the shops or going to McDonald's and sitting in the parking lot for an hour and a half, and then driving up when when church is letting out. Hey guys, what y'all doing? Church was amazing. I can't tell you how happy I was when I moved out of state. And my mom, she even told me, like, make sure when you get out to LA that you find a new church home. Sure. Okay. Sure. Okay. I think I went to church, I want to say, twice when I was in LA. Yeah. I started skipping church. I felt pretty, like, unseen. And I still do. I feel like right now, I feel pretty unseen to a certain extent now that social media is a thing. I can find other people who have similar mindset. But in high school, I definitely felt like confused and like, do I really see myself in church? Maybe it's just the church itself. Maybe I can try to find an online church. But it really came down to like the principle of it all, the guilt of it all. Like, having so much guilt is what had, like, ultimately, like, guilt and shame is what ultimately ran me away. That and believing in a man. So high school, I got baptized. I was like doing all of the things, right? Then college came. I felt a bit of freedom. LA is a very open place. There's a lot of queer people, a lot of spiritual people. I definitely jumped into that spiritual hippie nature girl, earth girl, now that we're calling it aesthetic. I still am, but like, not really. I jumped heavily into that. I had an art class. It was my favorite art class, and we were learning about Buddhism. When I tell y'all I popped a bubble when I started learning about Buddhism, I was like, my mother I don't know if she knows the actual truth of what Buddhism is, but it's nowhere near evil. And the funniest part about it is I failed that art class. It was probably my favorite class, period, and I failed it. Oh, I was so annoyed with myself. I remember I had bought my first crystals in LA. I was with my friend Jasmine and two of her older friends back in the time, or back in college. We had like a really chill day. We went to their street promenade and there was this crystal store. We did the singing bowl and we got a couple crystals, and then we went to the beach and meditated on the beach. It was such... I will forever remember that day. I don't know if anyone, like the other girls, remember that day, but I even have a picture from that day. And just like it was a cool day. And regardless if it was like a placebo effect, you know, I felt physically good and calm after. And I was like, I love this, not instant feeling, but you know, yeah. I also want to touch on that day a little bit, because I feel like whether it was like a placebo effect or what, I think I had finally like came to the realization, like, I no longer agree with or follow the Christian faith as I once did. Like, whether it's the crystals, whether it's something else that I dive into, it's not that. And I feel like that day was just proof of it all, like going into a crystal shop and then journaling and experiencing peaceful moments like that with friends where it's non-judgmental and everyone's into it and you're not going back. But everyone, like, when you're with certain people, it's like you're so different but still can connect on a different level to where you're not judging each other. Like, you're judging your own personal life. If that makes sense. Like, yes, we all come from different backgrounds, but at the end of the day, we're still people. And that's what it just felt like, a human moment, like a real moment where I felt something other than just like, oh, this is, I don't know. College, I also watched The Secret for the first time, and that brought me into the manifestation bubble. Now, what I have to say about this next little bit chapter of my life is definitely where I've grown the most, but it's also it's something's happening within the self-help, the spiritualism, the earth girl movement. All of that circled together is becoming something that I didn't want to be a part of. Therefore, I don't claim to be like a spiritual girly. I don't know if, like, y'all know the aesthetic I'm trying to think of, because you start to become it. To me, it starts to then follow religious type of the word I'm looking for is ideology. Yo, I'm doing these clips because I realize that I literally don't think of everything when I film this video. But ideology is the word that I'm looking for. Religious type of qualities, meaning a lot of people in the spiritual like realm, I feel like, have big egos, like, oh, you don't know this and that about your consciousness, or what's really going on in the government, or what's really going on this earth. Like, you don't know about the new earth, and if you know, you know. I swear to Mother Nature herself, if I hear one more person say, if you know, you know, about something that I do not know anything of, I'm going to flip my shit. What the hell is a new earth? we need you to stay here to help fix this one. Can we do that? Can we energetically come together and help this earth that was given to us in the first place? Why are you trying to leave when you're here? And there would be girls that I start to follow, and then they start to get into the spirituality and their language starts to change, like the consciousness. And I get it, I understand it, but sometimes it's like you get so lost in like your new found like spiritual whatever it is, whether it's a new religion, a new practice you're doing. Sometimes we get so like we have to follow the rules of our ruling. We have to be catered to a certain look. How does that person look, dress, sound? Like, are you wearing crystals? Like, I became a crystal girly, but I do like rocks. I like stones. It's part of this earth. Why in the religious bubbles are crystals that literally come from this earth, why are they deemed evil? Y'all, it's so there's so much I can get into that just doesn't make sense to me anymore. And so I kind of want to talk about this a little bit more, because over the years of deconstructing in the Christian faith, I have fallen into the spiritual bubble. And that's what I'm trying to explain here, but I'm trying to be respectful of the girlies who are in that bubble now. Because still am, I don't know. I dabble in it a little bit of it. I don't know what to call it, because I don't want to put that label on me, because a lot of the stuff they talk about I don't agree with. And a lot of it still has to do with centering men and still centering the wrong things in our lives and holding on to some sort of God or bigger one. And I don't know. I also wanted to put in here that I see this a lot more so in the network marketing, MLM areas. I love watching anti-MLM videos like Cece Suarez, Aaron B's, Julie Joe, like and back in the day when Kiki Chanel was making videos about anti-MLM, I love that content. I love the content, the anti-scam content. You know, it's I find it so fascinating how closely the world of religion and those interconnect. Spiritual manipulation is such a real thing that people can't see it in that community. It's very heavily used to say, oh, God brought you to this opportunity here today. Like, bitch, God didn't tell you to sell fucking shampoo. Like, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to the spiritual aesthetic, I think that's what it is a spiritual girl aesthetic, or the spiritual man who's like Grand Rising Queen. I don't like being called queen. I really don't like it. It sends red flag signals to me that you're about to be on some shit. Like, I don't know. I feel like the people get lost in the aesthetics of it all, and even seeing like white people start to move to Hawaii or these other third world countries or minority countries. They move there and then they integrate themselves into said culture, and now they are awakened and they see the world in a whole new light, and it's just so transformative. But yet you don't know that they're using their parents' money to get them to, you know what I mean? I love the spiritual bubble for the self-help aspect and for the tips and the tricks that you can find through yoga and the mind clarity through yoga that I find. I mean, there's so much in the bubble that I love, but then there's so much that I hate. And that reminds me of religion too, which is why that I kind of like pulled back, and now I feel like my practice of whatever I do is more private and just like whatever I feel flows or goes or what I feel I need is what I do. But I just want to clarify that because I love all my I love all my natural earthy girl aesthetic girls. I love the aesthetic. Like, come on now. Like, you see it in my background, but to a certain extent, you can't let that ride your whole fucking personality. And you can't let that ride on your morals and values, is where I think it gets lost in the whole aspect of it all. I didn't come out to my parents as not Christian until 2023. And when I did, I was shaking, I was crying because I didn't know if they were gonna like shun me. If they were gonna be like, have this big blow up. They were actually very respectful and accepting. Like, yeah, I hid the fact that I wasn't religious for a long time, but I slowly started to like hint at it. I feel like I never mentioned going to church again. Like, I told my parents, like, I don't have interest. Like, I would gradually start to do little stuff like that. Like, I'm not praying at dinner. No, I don't want to do that. Like, little stuff I trickled in to kind of get them used to, like, the fact, like, I don't want to do that stuff anymore. It's still a transition. So, like, as of now, I feel like that's overall, like, my religious journey. I guess I think of it much deeper. I don't know if y'all can relate to this story, can't relate to this story. As of now, in the past, I want to say like 2 to 3 years. Really, I want to say what happened was I chopped off all my hair. Chopped off all my hair, and my life started changing. I kid you not. I kid you not. After growing it out for like 11 years, I also coming to the realization that I'm probably on the spectrum. I probably have ADHD. I know something is going on with me mentally, and it's something that I am seeking help for. Yes. So, it's very hard for me to relay my thoughts coherently sometimes, and I could not be high or anything, and it'll be like physically hard for me to speak. So as of right now, spiritually, I am free. I have dabbled in what witchcraft may look like, but white people are so fucking nosy. Driving hella slow. Yes, there's someone in here recording. Can I help you? Anyways, spiritually, I am just free. I am now trying to find where my values are, where my morals lay, what type of person do I want to become, what type of person do I want, or what type of people do I want to be around, and how does that look like for my partner, for my future. Because now that I'm not religious, knowing that a lot of people in the Black community, at least, not saying that that's only who I am open to dating, but that's who I'm mostly attracted to date or be with, people who are the same religion or close to. And I'm not very sure where my person lies. I can't date someone or be with someone who is religious, because I feel like that affects your values and your morals and how you move about life. So that's where I am on that. A part of this deconstruction, this deconstruction that social media has been the biggest, yet one of the biggest in the sense that it has hurt me and helped me at the same time. Like this past year, I took a lot of time off of social media, and when I say that, I mean Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. I am usually always on YouTube and Pinterest. So, yeah. As of now, it's been one of my biggest struggles has been trying to find help, and it's been hard to find help when people mention God within that help. I start to kind of check out when you mention, pray, or like, no, I need some like constructive like advice right now, please, 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 please. And for this, I think that this is just part of my healing process right now. I feel like there's phases that you go through in the deconstruction. Like, you go through a phase where you're just angry. You're angry, and then I feel like I became kind of like a angry atheist for a hot second, not for very long, because I don't like holding in anger like that. But you start to get angry and mad that you were raised this way, because now you have to, learn new ways, and you have to figure out how to, okay, if you don't believe in God, what do you believe in? Like, what do you latch on to? what's your vice? What are you doing? And I felt like I fell through a hole of like finding other atheist people who were upset too, calling out the bullshit of religion and all that stuff. But I'm like, after a while, that bubble kind of got like a little bit too much, like too hateful, and it's like, okay, this is not really constructive or healing. I mean, it's a little bit healing to talk shit, but for only so long can I personally stay in that. So after that was just like, now I feel like you're kind of like up in the air. You're just kind of like free balling, and hopefully you don't crash and burn. No, that's so unhelpful. It's not helpful, but it's kind of like you're kind of free to just be normal, quote unquote, like just to be human and a good person in society. I also wanted to talk about kind of like some fears that I've had, like coming out. Well, now it's a come out video in general, right? But I just want to say, because I feel like my precious Black community, I feel like as a Black woman with Black parents and a black ass family with Black ass problems, I feel like religion is holding us back. I'm sorry. I feel like a lot of religion is holding us back. And I know. Because I feel like as Black people, we love to claim how much we have healed and grown and how much we love others, but at the same time, believing in this Bible, it's not helping us. It's really not, because everyone's opinion is different about what the Bible even says. We can't even get on the same fucking page with that. Like, like, and then we're taking, and I feel this way heavily because I honestly feel like so many people are not religious or don't believe in God than they're willing to admit, but they don't because fear of rejection or fear of people thinking that you're a devil worshiper, that you're an atheist. Get it out of your head that atheists are bad people. I still like get anxious telling people that I'm closer to being an atheist than anything else, because I want you to get it through your head that I don't believe in God. I don't believe in heaven or hell. And it's okay. That doesn't make you a bad person. And I feel like we get so ingrained with that message that, like, not necessarily that you're a bad person, that you're so sinful that you're going to hell. Like, your afterlife is not gonna be great, dude. Like, so like, there's just so much shame and pressure and guilt put on us already in the waking world that we are living in. Why do we continue to do that with religion? I understand why it's so heavy in our community, because let me just say a little story. I had got invited to this girl's church about like 2 years ago from the gym. And I told her, even when I met her, that I wasn't really religious anymore. It was still the period where I wasn't really telling people that I was just like not a believer at all. So I was like, you know what? Let me go to church one last time. Let me just go. And immediately, like, vibes are off. And I made this good night, like, this realization is when you, like, there's a whole church experience. You know, you're coming to church in the first place more than likely because you have an issue. You have an issue, you sinned, you're ready to repent and to give your life back to the Lord, right? You're coming to give it all back, give it all to Him. And so it's part of the experience. You get in, you're welcomed in by the loving people of the community. It's your people, you know? This is a place where all the Black people, like, this is how I'm imagining in my head. Like, back in the day, like, Black people didn't have anywhere else that felt safe to go. I'm thinking, like, during slave times, right? Like, there was not many places safe to go for Black people, so we found it in each other. And that just so happened to be the church, and it stuck with us. So leaving the church, it's like leaving the community, it almost feels like. And it feels like betraying your ancestors, but it's like, no. So you get into church, and then you're sat down, you know, you're chalking it up to people. How's your week? And then, you know, you get into the service, you start off with the worship. This is where they really get you. They really get you with the good worship music. Y'all, I can't lie. I love good worship music. Kirk Franklin, you know, I just heard the one by Mary that was singing. What you gonna do when you come home? Get behind closed doors when you hit the phone. What you can't see is you on your knees in the next time. It's a God in me. Like, I love that shit. But you get your emotions in a twirl, and it's hizzy. You're feeling the music. It starts off, you know, the bops, and then you're getting into the slow music, the real deep, sentimental, let's invoke some emotion out of you music. And then it's loud in there. It's so loud. Like, maybe it's hizzy, but I was so overstimulated being I had to leave after, like, it was too much. It's loud, everyone's emotional. It's just like all that energy in the room. Of course you're crying. Like, I remember being in church, like, I knew I did some shit that week, and I'm in church, I'm bawling my eyes out. I burst in line up front, bitch, ready to say I'm sorry and to repent. And it's a repetitive cycle, like, you know what I'm saying? Once you get through the music, then the pastor comes on, and he has the perfect message for you. for you. And every time you come back, of course that message is for you. You were meant to be here. You were meant to be here, right? They get you. And then by the end, the pastor calls for the altar call, and you're up there because you feel like, you know what, this message talking for me. But in that specific service that I went to, just so happened to be talking about crystals and potions, and I started taking offense to it. I'm like, running the crystal around my neck, let me cover up a little bit before I get axed. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling called out. And then, yeah. So I just say all that to say, there's a church experience. Just become aware of it, because it'll happen every week. It's the same thing every week. And then they ask you to donate. Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, PayPal. We take check. Debit, Apple Pay, we got that. Oh no, you just don't donate to the church. No, you're donating to the pastor too. He's got his own separate handles. And then now they're filming, like, sorry, have y'all seen this? They're kind of parody skits, but like they're getting close-up shots of you. Imagine like you're having your moment, you know, you're worshiping, you're crying your eyes out, and then you look up and you're on the big fucking screen. Like horrified because some girl's got her phone or her camera recording you in your spiritual moment, getting that all for you on the big screen. Yeah, that doesn't sit right with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm done with that. But I just had to say that. I'm just noticing all of the things, and it's got scary for me. It got a little too culty for me. And if you know me, you know I love researching cults, and the more that I research cults, the more I know that I will probably never join a religion again. I want to mention, now that we're on the topic of like where I am now, some content creators that I feel like have really, really helped me during this process. First, I would say is the Antibot, girl named Taylor, and a lot of times she has her husband on with her, and he has his own channel called Genetically Modified, genetically something, and it's also like a deconstruction from the church type of channel. But her channel specifically, the Antibot, has been so healing, because they are an ex-Mormon couple, and they basically like review social media type of Christian stuff and things that the goings on in the evangelist type of community and the religious community. It's really good, really informational, and I like them because they know the Bible, and that's something that I was never able to connect with. So I don't even know John 3:16. I couldn't tell you. I just know God so loved the world, he forgave or gave his only. Why would you give your forgotten son? Oh my gosh. Next on YouTube is Hitomi. I can't pronounce her last name respectfully. But I'll put her name. I'm sure if you are into like the earth girl aesthetic or natural remedies or knowing more about the spiritual one, if you know, you know. But I love her channel. I can take her in doses, because sometimes it's too, like, she's too hippy dippy for me. But she also is like socially aware, because a lot of those spiritual girlies want to check out and don't want to conform to the government. But I've seen her talk on certain subjects, told people to go vote, stuff like that. I think is so important that gets lost in the spiritual bubble. And then a podcast that more specifically a podcast episode, but in general, is called Prologues by Mary Skinner. I first found her on TikTok, but I stopped watching her content, and then I found her on YouTube. Anyways, there's a specific episode where she talks about religion, because she also left a really religious cult, or growing up, her family was really religious, and it was a really good episode, and I'll have that link down below. Christabel Mintot is actually on Instagram, and I recently found her, and she has a really cool way of thinking, and I love her mind. And she is in the queer world too, black, queer, from an immigrant household. She knows some things, but is not religious. It's such a specific like niche of a person. And then this guy that I found, I think his name is Ike Slimster. I'll put his name in profile. Love the way he thinks. I may have slight social media crush on that man, but he's pretty cool. And last but not least is Brittany Simon. Brittany Simon has changed my life indefinitely. Love what she does on the internet. It's quite beautiful because, y'all, she does like reactionary type of videos, but like from a philosophical perspective. Brittany's content is definitely a niche content, and when I found her channel, it definitely took some getting used to, because she's a woman who is proud of what she does. She's good at what she does. She knows it, and she's gonna speak her mind on whatever it is. All that to say, I have much respect for her and the other people that I've started, watching or keeping up with or looking for advice. And I'm very grateful. I know, y'all, I'm trying to edit this video, but I also want to mention one more person, and that's Sarah. Oh my God. And that's Sarah K. Her channel is just Sarah K. Um, I found her in 2016 when I had just graduated college, and at the time I was helping my cousin, helping her deliver her baby, in a sense. Like, she was on her last couple of weeks of postpartum, couple weeks before her baby was due, and I was staying with her, and I was started watching Sarah, and at the time I think her mom just died, or had recently died, and she her videos were so just the realest thing I've seen in such a long time. I remember watching her videos like back to back to back to back to back. Like, just the way she thought, her life view about her mom dying, and then her dad died soon after, both from cancer, or it was just very sudden, and she was so young living in this massive house, and I was just like, how are you gonna live? So I don't know. Her channel, just her being raw and real, and she talks a lot about books, and then she had a book club, and I started reading a lot of books, and then we read this book called A Million Tiny Little Pieces. I think a movie had recently came out about it, It was about like a man who was an alcoholic and he went to rehab. Blah, blah, blah. Anyways, we had a whole book club, and she had built this whole community of people that were just so open and so deep, deep. I feel like I'm always craving deep, deep, deep connection. And her channel was very much that, and it's the perfect channel to have in that time frame. And she's very like not doesn't post too much now. But she she is I feel like she's so special. She's a sweet girl, and she posts a lot of makeup videos. She loves makeup, but other than that, she posts like quirky talking videos. I don't know. She's so regular to me. But her channel, in a weird, not weird way, but in a way, helped me deconstruct my mind. So, rather, I think it helped deconstruct my mind, but then also give it another view and not just be like, okay, God doesn't exist now, you know, life's over. No, it was more of like, okay, she never spoke of God, but she did, but she was always questioning. And I feel like her questioning everything with her mom dying and then her dad, her just questioning life itself. I was like, shit, girl, I'm on the journey too, because what the fuck's going on here? But yeah, I don't know. Even because I went back to her channel to see like if she had posted anything new, but she hasn't posted in a couple months, which, it is what it is. Life happens, you know. But I was looking at her older videos to see why I was watching her. It's like she has this video called The Wild Woman. It's one of her first like couple. I was like, okay, I can see why I liked her and why I watched her for so long and still do watch her. So I don't know. I just needed to add her in there because her channel, it clicked to me that I watched her a
As of
lot.
now, it's just a journey. Starting therapy and seeing what happens. Living life, realizing things about life and just realizing that life is just lifing. So it's really cool that I got to realize that whole thing. Um, yeah. I will be sure to also leave links of any articles that have helped me, any other videos or TikToks or short form videos that have helped me. But honestly, I feel like everyone should just go out and seek for themselves. Like, your journey probably looks hella different from mine. Like, you may find something else that's helpful that may work for you and come back and let me know. Like, don't just accept what people tell you from face value. Dig a little deeper. Ask more questions. Why? If you get to the end of a why question, then you've reached your answer. Um, it's always good to question. So I hope this video wasn't too much of a scramble, and I will see you guys in my next one. I'm very tempted to make one about being a single Black woman who's 28 and has never dated. And yeah, it sounds like an interesting video to make. But yeah. So I appreciate you if you have stayed in this video, and let me know what your thoughts are. Like I said, I'm not here to persuade anyone. I just want to give my story and to let other people know that it's possible to be a good person, to live a good life, and to be like, oh, consensually happy without a religion holding you back. So I hope y'all have a beautiful rest of the day, night, whatever you got going on. I hope that it's beautiful, and
yeah, remember, everything will be okay. Bye.